And now, back to our harrowing tale from the Baltic Sea. It was a cold, September night in 1994. The ferry, Estonia, was carrying hundreds of passengers across the Baltic Sea. Families were sleeping, children were dreaming, and everything seemed calm. Then, boom, a horrifying noise echoed through the ship. Within minutes, Europe witnessed one of the deadliest peacetime shipwrecks in history. But how did this catastrophe happen? And why is it still considered one of the deadliest shipwrecks ever? Join me as we dive deep into this chilling incident. Hello and welcome to my channel. Let's set the scene. On September 28, 1994, the large passenger ferry MV Estonia set sail from Tallinn, Estonia, with a destination of Stockholm, Sweden. The overnight voyage was routine. The ship had made this trip countless times before. But this time, fate had a cruel twist in store. On board the Estonia were 989 people, a mix of families, workers, students, and tourists heading to their destinations. The weather was rough that night, but nothing out of the ordinary for a seasoned ship like the Estonia. Strong winds and choppy waves were forecast, but these conditions were not unusual for the Baltic Sea. In fact, the ship had encountered worse. Captain Arvo Anberg, a veteran sailor with extensive experience, felt confident in navigating these conditions. The Estonia was equipped with a bow visor, a structure resembling a gate at the front of the ship that could be lowered to allow vehicles to drive on and off. This feature made loading and unloading cargo and passengers much easier. However, on this fateful night, the bow visor would turn into a point of disaster. As the ship sailed through the turbulent waters of the Baltic Sea, the bow visor began to show signs of trouble. With each wave that crashed against it, the visor shook violently. At about 12:20 a.m., as the Estonia encountered particularly high waves, the worst happened. A loud metallic bang echoed as the bow visor, weakened by previous impacts and possibly compromised by design flaws, finally gave way. In an instant, the bow visor collapsed, allowing seawater to rush into the car deck, the most dangerous place for a ferry to flood. The watertight doors on the car deck, which should have prevented the spread of water, were either open or failed to close properly. As millions of liters of water surged into the car deck, the ship's pumps struggled to keep up. Within minutes, the ship began to list sharply to one side. People were jolted from their sleep by the sudden movement and eerie sounds of the ship breaking apart. Alarms blared, furniture slid off tables, and screams filled the corridors as people realized the gravity of the situation. Chaos erupted. Many passengers stumbled onto the upper decks in the pitch-black darkness, desperately searching for a lifeboat or a way to contact emergency services. Some made it onto the top deck and saw life rafts bobbing in the sea below. But the tilting ship made launching the lifeboats impossible. Others found life jackets and donned them, hoping to make a dash for the life rafts if the ship went down. Still, others huddled together on the decks, praying for a miracle. Meanwhile, the crew raced against time to launch the lifeboats, but the Estonia was tilting at such an extreme angle that most of the boats were unable to slide down the ship's side. The captain knew that the only option left was to radio for help. He sent out distress signals, alerting the nearby vessels and the Coast Guard to the unfolding tragedy. Tragedy unfolded as hundreds of people jumped into the icy waters of the Baltic Sea. Out of the 989 people on board, only 137 survived. They were pulled from the stormy sea by rescue helicopters and ships. The rest, 852 people, drowned or froze to death in the frigid waters. A thorough investigation was launched to determine the cause of the disaster. Investigators discovered that a combination of factors had led to the tragedy. First, the bow visor locks had been designed with insufficient strength. When faced with the battering of the strong waves, the locks failed, leading to the visor breaking free and allowing water to pour into the ship. Second, the ship's stability systems were not robust enough to counteract the force of the waves, leading to the rapid tilting of the vessel. Third, the watertight doors on the car deck were either open or malfunctioning, allowing water to spread quickly throughout the ship. Fourth, the crew lacked proper training in conducting evacuation drills. This delayed the launching of the lifeboats and the sending out of distress signals. Fifth, the ship's management had ignored earlier reports of problems with the bow visor, failing to address the issue before the disaster struck. The Estonia disaster remains one of the deadliest peacetime shipwrecks in history. The tragic loss of life and the harrowing tales of survival have left an indelible mark on those involved and on maritime safety regulations worldwide. In the aftermath of the disaster, several important changes were made to prevent similar tragedies from occurring. Ferry operators were required to strengthen their vessels' stability systems and watertight compartments to ensure that even if a bow visor failed, the ship would remain stable and the water would be contained. Additionally, the crew of all ferries were mandated to undergo rigorous training in evacuation procedures and distress signaling. International maritime authorities also worked together to establish stricter safety standards and conduct regular inspections of ferries to ensure compliance. These measures have significantly improved the safety of ferry travel, but the memory of the Estonia disaster continues to serve as a reminder of the importance of prioritizing safety on our waterways. Imagine being on the ship. What would you do if you found yourself in such a terrifying situation? Would you stay in your cabin, wait for instructions, or try to get to higher ground? If you were outside on the deck, would you jump into the freezing water or try to launch a lifeboat? Share your thoughts and experiences. We value your stories, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to stay updated on future videos. Now let's delve deeper into the human element of this tragedy. Many questions arise. Why were the doors left open? Why weren't the lifeboats launched sooner? And why did the crew not realize the severity of the situation more rapidly? During the chaotic moments after the bow visor collapsed, some passengers reported seeing lifeboat attendants struggling to launch the boats. However, by the time it became evident that the ship was doomed, it was too late. The Estonia had tilted dramatically, making it nearly impossible to use the ramps to slide the lifeboats into the water. This tragic sequence of events highlighted a critical oversight in the ship's design and operational procedures. Furthermore, although there were loud bangs and violent movements preceding the visible tilting of the ship, many passengers and crew members did not grasp the full extent of the disaster. Until it was almost upon them, some assumed that the noises were part of the ship's regular motion during rough seas, while others thought they were minor issues that the crew could easily handle. This delay in recognizing the severity of the situation may have resulted in some people not taking the necessary actions quickly enough to increase their chances of survival. The investigation also revealed that the crew lacked sufficient training in conducting evacuation drills. This deficiency in training contributed to the delay in launching the lifeboats and sending out distress signals. Had the crew been well trained and prepared, they might have been able to react more quickly and effectively, potentially saving many lives. The story of the Estonia is not just a maritime tragedy, it's a story of hope, courage, and resilience in the face of overwhelming odds. It tells us that even in the darkest moments, humanity can shine through. Among the survivors are the few passengers and crew members who made it to the top deck and jumped into the sea. They clung to life buoys or debris, waiting for rescue. Some managed to climb onto life rafts or drift to nearby ships. Their survival was a testament to the indomitable spirit of humanity. Looking back on the Estonia disaster, it's clear that a series of unfortunate events, mechanical failures, and human errors led to this catastrophic event. The sinking of the Estonia serves as a reminder of the unforgiving nature of the sea and the importance of continuous vigilance in maritime operations. It compels us to learn from past mistakes, strengthen safety protocols, and honor the memories of those lost by striving for excellence in all that we do. In the wake of this tragedy, nations across Europe came together to support the grieving families and implement sweeping changes to maritime safety regulations. The European Union introduced the Safety of Life at Sea (SOLAS) Convention, setting stringent standards for ships and ports across the continent. This comprehensive set of rules addressed everything from construction and equipment to crew training and emergency procedures. Key provisions included mandatory carriage of lifeboats and survival suits, enhanced stability requirements for ferries, and strict enforcement of regular safety drills. These measures not only reshaped the maritime industry, but also provided a legacy of remembrance, ensuring that the sacrifices of those lost on Estonia would not be in vain. The Estonia disaster shook the world. It led to stricter rules for ferries and ships, so that such a tragedy would never repeat itself. The memory of the Estonia and its passengers will forever be etched in our minds. It reminds us that the sea is powerful and unpredictable, and that even in the darkest hours, bravery and hope can guide us. So what do you think? How would you survive such a catastrophe? Your experiences and insights might be valuable to someone else. And if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to get notified about future videos. Thank you for watching this episode. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking it and sharing it with your friends. Your support means the world to us and helps us continue creating captivating content. So keep watching as we bring you more incredible stories from history.